Good evening, everyone. I'm Shanton Pal, and today I'll be giving a session on Introduction to Git and GitHub. So, kindly, moderators, can you tell me if the slide is visible and if my audio is audible? So, first of all, what we will be talking about is like what is Git. So, and next I'll be explaining like why that Git is important and what is the basic difference between Git and GitHub. And then I will be showing a few key commands, like what are the necessary commands for like operating with Git. And the fourth one would be the benefits, like what you will be gaining after learning this tool Git, and also you'll be knowing how to use GitHub as well. So what are those benefits that you will be getting? So let's understand what is Git. So first of all, it's a free tool and it's open source and it's a distributed version for control system. Just forget these technical terms. Let's just understand this diagram. So as you can see that here is a server, right? So this server is basically the GitHub or maybe GitLab or Bitbucket. So I'll be coming to this, what this exact server is. For the time being, you just focus in this three person. So one of them is you, one of them is your friend, and the other one, suppose it is your brother. All right, now three of you want to do a project. It could be anything related to like your computer science or maybe anything else. When you do a project, maybe you want to write some part of the code, your friend will be writing some other part of the code, and your brother will be writing a different part. All right, and you'll be joining those three parts together, and finally your project will be made. So now this project is termed as repository. All right, so in Git we have some technical terms named repository. So this is just a repository, and this would be then pushed to a host server, like which would be hosted in like internet or cloud. So that is basically GitHub or GitLab. Now someone may argue that why use such kind of system when we have Google Drive and maybe some other cloud storage where we can easily like push things or upload things. Why go into such complicated Git systems or something like that? So after like a few slides, you'll be understanding why this is so important and what are the other benefits that you'll be getting than a normal G Drive or maybe some other cloud storage. So here are the two terms, like open source and distributed version control system. So these two are most important. So first of the thing is like open source. So we call a thing open source when the code is available. For example, you all have been using Windows for such a long time, maybe from your childhood, but have you ever thought like what is the code behind it? How is that OS written? How can you play games over there or do some task over there? Can you access those codes? Can you modify it? For example, when I was a child, I was curious to like experiment and maybe like what can we do? At most we can change themes, but can we make something like the taskbar gradient or color, not a fixed color or something like that? So how would you do that? Do you have the code? Can you modify it? The answer to this is no, because those are commercial software. But whereas which are open source, like the code is available for you, you can use that, make a own copy and then modify it according to your needs and then republish it. So a few softwares like Mozilla Firefox, even the whole Linux operating system, these are all open source. So basically you can fork, I will not use the technical terms right now again. Basically you can copy those things and do your own modification and then publish those. So next, to make you all understand what exactly Git is, I'll be using a travel analogy. Again, I will be not using completely technical terms because some of you are completely new to Git, and if I use those terms you might not understand what is going on. But here would be four few terms which you must remember. So one of them is the untracked files, then comes staging area, then commit, and finally push. So for example, you want to go to a place, for example you want to go to Goa. So what do you do first? So you will have a like wardrobe of yourself where there will be several like shirt, t-shirt, or maybe some pants or like hat, shoes, etc. So these are the things which you have, right? Now when you are planning to take some clothes, what you do, you select a few of them like which you want to wear over there. So here what I have shown is this is the untracked files. Similarly, in a computer system you have maybe 1,000 files. So from this 1,000 you might be picking up three which you want to take it. For example, I have chosen a jacket, a shirt, and a pant, a jeans. So these area, like whatever I have selected, this area is known as staging area, or I have staged these files. And once you stage them, can you just directly go with that, like with an open bag? No, right? You have to close the bag and pack it up, right? Completely pack up and then you can go. So this packing step is known as commitment, or I can also say that I have committed, like I am sure that yes, these are the items which I will be taking. But what is the difference in the staged? Like in the staged, I can remove one more shirt and maybe I will pick a sock or a shoe or something else. So in the staging area, you can modify or unmodify. Whereas when you commit something, that means it's done. Like I am 100% sure that these are the items which I will be picking up. So this is the point of commitment. And what is pushed? Pushed is basically you are uploading it to a website or a maybe host server. So in our travel analogy, we are going to a place. Maybe we are going to Goa or Mumbai or somewhere else. So this is the whole thing which goes on. In untracked portion, there are the things which is not organized or ordered. There are the things, right? But those are not in a particular order, or you haven't thought about those. For example, in this picture, we can see that we have several shoes and dresses. So these are over there. From there you want to pick something, right? You can pick a maybe a jacket or jeans or something like that. So when you think like what I am going to wear, those selection part goes to the staging area. Then what happens is you are confirmed that yes, these are the items which I will be picking, and then you put it to the commitment area. That is known as that you have committed the file. And finally comes the pushing, where you basically push those files to a server, which for our case would be GitHub. But there are several other servers like GitLab and Bitbucket. So we will be talking about that later. So the next slide. So why are we learning Git at all? Like it is kind of complicated, I understand, but just think about this for a moment. Like the main answer to this question would be the version control system. So what is a version control system and what are versions? So for example, say it's a summertime, you may choose a like a light shirt and just a half pant or something like that. So then you commit it, right? Then you put it in the bag and just set it aside. So that's the first version. But maybe during the winter time you think, no, like I have to change something, I have to take a jacket, I have to take some like the things which you wear in winter, right? So you switch to that and then again you commit. So what happens is that's the version 2. So again you can argue that we can do the same in Google Drive also. We can just delete some files someday and then again push some other files that I require at that moment, right? So why use Git for this? What is the specific purpose for version? Just think like I have given an example for 2 times, but what if you do this daily and you do this 100 times per day? So what is happening is you can't keep a track, right? Like on which time which files have been uploaded, which have been removed, and what is happening. So the first question, can you do this 100 times in Google Drive or maybe some other cloud storage like area? So you cannot, right? And even if you tell that yes I can, then what about the keeping track of every version? Like in the first version, what did you keep in those? What happened to this version? Some may again argue that we can always see the versions in Drive, like what we have uploaded and what not. Then the third question would come up, like can you compare like what was the first version that I had uploaded and what was the 50th version that I had uploaded? What was there? Like was there a blue shirt or a red shirt or a like pant or a jeans? What was there? Can you do those things? You generally cannot do those in a normal like cloud storage, but in Git you can, and those are very effective. You will learn about certain codes that will show you like what is the difference between each version. So you'll be also understanding that like how to do all this stuff, like why is this Git some kind of important thing. Then comes the thing which is the Git versus GitHub, right? So like why like yeah, we are telling about GitHub and Git simultaneously. What is the common point and what is the difference between them? So some people have this misconception that both are the same thing, but they're absolutely not, right? Whatever we are doing in Git basically happens in your laptop or your computer or maybe your desktop. This has nothing to do with any hosting service or website or anything else. So everything happens in your computer. So for example, just see this one. So this could be your wardrobe, right? You can choose your dress, you can stage them. Staging means selection, right? You are selecting those, like yes, these are the ones which I am going to commit, like I'm going to put in my bag and I'm going to go with those stuff. So this is the staging part, and then comes the commitment. So you just like remember these part, like untracked, stage, and committed. So these 3 terms are very important. So once you understand this, that this is just for you, right? Just for you. Similarly, a time may come when your friend is doing the same thing. For example, your friend has those same untracked dresses, and he or she picks up those dresses and like selects those. So that goes to the staging area. and finally the committed one, like he or she commits that yes, these are the ones that I will be choosing. So he or she puts it in the bag and packs it up. And same goes for your brother. So these are all happening locally. So this is a term which is very important. That is, what is a local environment and what is a like production environment. So this one, this, see these orange colors and this purple color, these are all local. That means these are only in your computer or only just for you. But what if you want to join all those three? Like, what can you do if you want to do these things, like joining things? So you have to like meet somewhere, right, to exchange maybe those in a pen drive or something like that. Or you can say that I'll be doing this in a Google Drive or some kind of online storage. So this is the point where Git comes up. So from this Git, you are uploading it or pushing it to a server. So what is pushing? Basically uploading those files to a server that is named GitHub or GitLab. So this is basically a server and not just a tool, right? GitHub is a server. So you are using Git tool to push your files to a server that is GitHub. So this is the whole point of this. Now you can again ask that the same thing goes on for Google Drives and cloud storage. So what is the difference over there? So the difference is every commitment, like whatever I am doing over here, is getting tracked, and I can compare each of the versions, like my versions as well as my friend's version or my brother's version. Like what did they do? What did I do? What happened? And what were the changes? So you cannot do this in normal drive or maybe some cloud storage. So this is the thing, like Git and GitHub comes handy over here. So here are the basic commands that we'll be using. For example, the first one is git add. So what happens in git add is, so we have those untracked files, right? Files, or for my example, that is the addresses. So we have those untracked addresses. Now we are selecting those, right? We are staging those. So I'm selecting this jacket and this shirt and this blue pant. So this is the part that happens when you write git add. So don't worry much about these commands, because to be honest, there are several YouTube videos along with some tutorials and documentation online where you'll be finding these commands, and they will be specifically mentioning you like what each command does. But the thing which they won't mention is the concept behind this, which like I'm explaining, like what is untracked and what is staged. So this is very important, which you must understand to actually have a good grasp in Git and GitHub, the whole concept. So this is the basic point of git add. Now comes git status. So what is git status? So in git status, basically whenever you write this command, it tells you like which files are untracked and which files are in a staged mode. For example, you have 1,000 files. So the first one may be A, the second one would be B, and the third one C. So maybe you have just staged A, B, and C. So it will show that A, B, and C are staged, whereas the other files are untracked. That means you don't care about them as of now. Might be you can add that git add D, that would basically add the D file. So D would go under staging area. So this is the whole point of git status, to know that which files are tracked and which files are staged and which are untracked. And then comes the git commit message. So what happens is, you are like from that staging area, you're moving to the commitment zone. So what is happening? You are basically telling that these are my final selected items. Now I want to pack these things up. So this is git commit. So this is git commit, and with dash in, this is a flag. Anything in Linux environment or a bash shell, you use dash then a character. So these flags there are various kind of flags which you will be learning from a documentation or a cheat sheet that we will be providing. So here in quotation mark, you have to use a like valid message. For example, you can write over here that I have added 3 of the dress or 3 items which I should wear in winter. So some message of your own to make sure that others can understand what commit this is all about, so that when they see your commitment, they can understand what you are actually trying to do over there. So this is git commit. Then goes git push. So what is git push? Basically what you are trying to do is, this box which you have prepared, like the final commitment, that this is the final package. So you are basically pushing it to the server, to the internet, or to the cloud, so that others can see that. Otherwise that was in your local environment, right? So you have to push that. So git push is a command which actually like is a kind of in middle between Git and GitHub. So you are pushing from your local repository to a like cloud server. So this can be GitHub, this can be GitLab, this can be Bitbucket, anything, any kind of server it could be. But for our convenience, we are using GitHub right now. And the final one is git pull. So in git pull, what we are doing, for example, your friend has created a repository. Maybe she cooks very well, so she had a like a cooking repository where there are several kind of recipes. So you want to see that. So what will you do? You will basically fork her repository. So what is forking? Basically copying her repository. So there is a repository, and what is a repository? So repository is basically a folder. All right, a very like common thing would be a folder, but with a lot of things involved in that. It could be a complete code base, it could be a project, it could be a very simple one line text, it could be anything. So it could be a file also. So this basically enough, it's a folder. So that folder would be copied to your GitHub profile, and from that profile you can then clone it. And what is clone is basically fetching from the cloud server to your local machine, like from the, like whenever you download from Google Drive to your local computer. So that is cloning. So that is cloned. That will be again explained in the hands-on session that we'll be having just after my slide presentation. So these are the basic commands. There are actually several more which you'll be finding, but those are not that important as of now. If you are a beginner, you will be requiring just these commands for now, as of now. Like after you advance, there would be several things which you should learn. So one of them is git branch. It is actually an advanced command, not for beginners, but I should show you because this is a thing which you must learn for some kind of professional commitment. For example, whenever you will be committing in a like industrial repository or a research based code base, or maybe some kind of like competition which are hosted by Google, or even sometimes by GitHub itself, that is Hacktoberfest. So in those kind of things, you have to learn about Git branches. So just pay a bit more attention over here. So this orange part, as you know, that this was your local repository, right? That your wardrobe, like something which you have in your computer. Now just think that maybe one of your friend has a industry of like industry with various types of club, like sports club, dance club, or maybe fashion club, even university student club. This is of your friend, and you have just a wardrobe, right? Now you don't know, like in like for some day you will be preparing some kind of fashion, right? Like one day you'll be going for sports session, one day you'll be going for dancing, some other day it would be a fashion show, some other day it could be like for university stuff. So what can you do? From this point, like you cannot include all four of them together, so you have to branch them out. Like here, as you can see, that from this wardrobe I have made one branch named cowboy, second branch is a dancer, third branch is runner, and fourth branch is student. So why have I made these branches? Why I couldn't make all four together and just put it in those box? This is because my other partner, like whoever with whoever I want to join or collaborate, they have separate requirements. They say that whenever you are committing, you cannot include cowboy, runner, or student. You have to include only dance along with your wardrobe in our dance club. So how can I do that? Like, should I make separate repositories multiple times? But that would also copy your this orange part, right? Your wardrobe would be copied multiple times. I shouldn't do that. Rather, I should be effective and efficient. So what I do is I keep this wardrobe, and then from there I branch out using like this. Like one would be a cowboy, then would be a dancer and runner and student. So once you make that, then what happens is from here you can switch to a branch. So what would be the command for switching? That would be git checkout -b dancer. And once you switch to a branch, you are in that current branch. So basically in that branch you would have your wardrobe and this dancer only. They won't know about cowboy, runner, or student. Now once you are in this branch, you can push that branch to the like server, their server, the dance club server. So this is the way you use Git branch. So this is one of the things which again you cannot do with any kind of cloud storage service like Google Drive and stuff like that. There would be multiple copies, and there would be extra storage space involved. So this is the thing which you can actually go like do with Git and GitHub. So what are the benefits that you'd be getting? So first of all, it's the open source contribution. So as I told you all, that open source means that all the codes are available for free. You can download those, you can edit those, modify those, and make a pull request. Now another technical term is pull request. So what is a pull request? So this is basically you are telling them that I have made some kind of modification in your code. You can look at that. Maybe you are working, or maybe you are working on some kind of extension like which is provided by Mozilla. So Mozilla is again an open source project like Mozilla Firefox. So you know about the extensions in the browser, right? So what you can do is you can work on that extension and make some changes, and maybe tell them that I have made these changes, so like review my code, and if you like it, you can merge it to your original Mozilla Firefox. So if they accept that, that means that your code would be available for everybody, like the whole world. They would be seeing that extension, they can use that extension. So this is the way you will be contributing to those projects. So can you understand that if you mention this kind of thing, that you have in your CV, that you have worked for Mozilla or maybe some other TensorFlow kind of stuff, that is a huge like advantage against other. So that this is one of the greatest advantage of like learning open source. And then comes free code camp. So this is again very much interesting, and they actually provide various free courses, so you can check them out. Even I am a free code camper too. So they actually provide a lot of free courses. It could be Python, C, web development, like designing, whatnot. Like just go to their repository once, like just search free code camp GitHub in Google, and you'll be getting a huge thing, like their website too. So that's awesome as well. So just go explore yourself. And VS Code everyone knows. So this is a text editor. So this is one of the best text editor. So you can this is also an open source project, so you can make changes to the extension and like push and modify things over there. So the third point is industrial and research internship. So whenever you'll be in a third year or fourth year, maybe in future, whenever you join a industry or some kind of stuff like that, so what happens over there is they don't work in Google Drive kind of mode. Everyone has their separate code base hosted in some kind of server. So what are those server? Those are GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, anything. So mostly like people work on GitHub, but nowadays GitLab and Bitbucket is also famous. In these cases also, you have to understand like how to work with Git and GitHub. So this is a fundamental step to learn like why Git and GitHub is important. And the fourth would be Google Summer of Code. So this is also a very like well-known and popular challenge, which basically is organized by Google. So what they do is annually they host like Google Summer of Code, where there are several research projects or like open source projects available, and in those there might be some kind of things which you will be assigned. For example, they might tell you that this is the problem we are facing, so can you help us to solve this problem? So if you are assigned a task and if you can do it successfully, then there is a huge reward, not only money reward but also prestige also. So if you can do that, that is also very nice. So for being a part of Google Summer of Code, you should again understand like what Git and GitHub is and how to use them. And the final one is the Hacktoberfest. So this is actually organized by DigitalOcean, and here if you can understand those branches, and if you finally can make a pull request, which I have mentioned just like 2 to 3 minutes back, so and make 4 PRs, 4 to 5 PRs, like PR means pull request, then you'll be eligible for a free t-shirt along with tattoo, like stickers and stuff like that for your laptops. So these are the benefits which you get. So like Git and GitHub is one of the primary thing which you must understand. And this one, like if you want to explore more, like this is a webinar, it could be hardly for around 1 hour 15 minutes. So I couldn't cover everything for in this webinar. So if you want to explore more, you can always go to the Coding Train channel. So this slide would be provided to you within 2 days, like after 2 days, so you can access these links all together. So what in that channel there is a like 12 to 13 video playlist from which I have learned when I was a like child, like not child, like I was in first year. So and you all can also do that. So it is actually very much important. Even I during my internship understood what is the importance of Git and GitHub. So I would recommend you all, like especially the first year and the second years, that if you have not started yet, like what is Git and what is GitHub, and you don't know how to handle them, you should start it by now, because it would be very important. And during your project time, that would be an extra it would be take extra time for you all to understand what is this. So right now if you start, so it would be very much useful for you all. And so this is all from my side. So if you have any question, you can always ask us over here. So first of all, you will be getting these slides, the cheat sheet as well. The cheat sheet would contain various codes and also several links. So that would be provided to you by 2 to 3 days. So now I would request Pratap to do a hands-on session on GitHub. So thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Shantan. So I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible. Not yet. Okay, it's visible now. I think. So okay. What I'll be doing is I'll be demonstrating the entire thing that has Shantan described earlier. And so this demonstration is divided in two parts. In the first part, I'll be demonstrating about what Git is and how to use Git, and then I will show you the demo where like you will push your local code to the hosted service as like GitHub, and after that I'll demonstrate how to fork a repository and add a successful peer to that repository. So okay, so let me okay. So okay, so first of all, you all need Git to be on your system. So for the Linux operating system, you have to just install like this command sudo apt get install git, and for Windows, so you have to go to the git-acm.com/downloads. So you all will be provided those links. Um, so from there you can download Git Bash and you can just start off after that. So okay, so let me create a folder. So after that, I just created the folder named ACM Git. That is for today's session. Okay, and after that, I'm getting inside of it. So if I ls here, you can see there is nothing. Or let me do it lsal. Okay, so here is nothing. This is completely blank. So first of all, I have Git installed in my system. So first of all, you would need to initialize a GitHub repository. Okay, so for that, you have to hit the command git init. Okay, so if you so after hitting git init command, you can see initialized empty Git repository in my folder. Okay, that I have created just now. Okay, so if I uh, do this ls-l, you will see this folder named .git. This is the configuration file for the local initialized Git repository that is in my local system. So if you check the status now, so there is no commits yet, and it says on branch master. So this is a default branch. Whenever you initialize a repository, you will get a default branch initialized as well. But this is a very old installation of Git in my system, so that is why you are seeing this branch as master. In the newer one, you will be seeing this branch as main. Okay, so let me just add a file. So I'm just adding a new file named sample.txt, and I'll be adding some text after that to it. So okay, intro to Git and GitHub. After that, let me just save it. Okay, so I have added some text into this file, and now if I check Git status, so you will see that untracked files. So one untracked files, and that is that sample.txt that I have created just now. So that means this file is not tracked yet. So after that, what you will do is, if you after that, you just check whether this file is right or not. You just verify it on your own. If these things you need to be like you want to commit it, or you want to be or you want this file to be pushed onto the server or something. So for that first step is to push this text file, or push this changed file to the staged area. Okay, so this is untracked area, and after that you just have to put this file to the staged area. For that, you just have to hit like git add and then that file name. Okay, so now this file has been added to the staging area. So if you check git status, so you will see changes to be committed. Basically, so earlier what we were seeing that this text file has been written in red color and now it's written in green color. That means this file is in staging area. Okay. So after that, you have to commit this staged file. Okay. That means you are finalizing this file for commit. Okay. So for that, you just have to put this command like git commit, and after that dash m means you have to add a message. So you always try to put a meaningful message here. So like this is my first commit, so I'm just uh, writing like this. So now you can see that one file changed, one insertion. And so basically in my Git repository, in my local Git repository, I have successfully committed one file, that is sample.txt. Okay. So one thing I forget to mention, whenever you install Git, after that, you have to add some configuration. So that will be like git config dash global, I guess, dash global user dot. So after that, you have to just put a equal and you just have to add your name. And after that, you will be adding your name. Like, so I have, like my GitHub, Git is already configured. So that is why it's showing my name here. And another thing you have to add, that is like email. Okay. So this is so if you haven't configured your Git, so this will be automatically prompted by Git that you must add your name and email to the Git global configuration file. Okay. So after that, you have successfully created a GitHub repository in your local system and you have committed a file to it. And now it's time you push this to you push this entire repository to a hosted service like GitHub. Actually, GitHub is an implementation of Git. So what I'll do is I'll go to GitHub and I'll just create a new repository. Okay. So now let me, I'm going to give same name, ACM Git. Okay. So after that, I'm just creating this repository. Okay. So after that, so you will get two options like create a new repository on the command line or push an existing repository from the command line. So I have already my existing repository. So if you check git log here, so you will be seeing all the changes that I have made it to this local repository. Okay. So and you can see my commit message here. So that means I am okay with my repository and I'll be pushing this ACM Git entire thing to this hosted GitHub. Okay. So for that, what I have to do is I have to, so this is my local machine, right? So I have to push this to a remote hosted service. So this GitHub here is a remote service. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just add a remote origin. Okay. So this is my local origin. I'll add a remote origin. Okay. So for that, I'll be doing git remote add origin. Okay, git remote add origin. After that, I'll be just copying this link. Okay. So I have added this repositories link to this origin, remote origin of my local repository. So my local repository, local repo has now two types of origin basically. One is local origin and another is remote origin. Okay. So now if you check git remote dash v, so you will see that this origin has been set for this hosted repository. Okay. So after that, what I have to do is I have to just create a branch, or you can push this master branch as well. So what I'll do is I'll just create a branch. Okay. So I'll just create a branch. Like this is the first branch. So I'll just name this branch as sample or something else. So let me see what branch I'm currently on. So if you just hit git branch, you will see there is only one branch, and that is the master branch. So it's always you should make your own branch before you push the code to a remote repository. So I'll be creating a new branch. So for that, what you will do is you will create a new branch. For the command is git checkout dash b and then the branch name. So for that, what I'll do is I'll just add sample branch. Okay, sample. So now if I check git branch, so what you will see that I am on sample branch. Okay. So after that, I'll check the status that if anything is untracked or not. So you can see on branch sample, nothing to commit, working tree is clean. That means though my working tree is clean, so I can now successfully add these changes to my remote branch. So for that, what I will do is I'll just git push -u origin. After that, I'll do is sample. Okay, so for that, it wants to review my credential that I am the rightful owner of this branch or this hosted GitHub repository or not, or I have access to that remote branch or not. So for that, I have to, okay, so I have to give my credential. Okay, so nowadays GitHub doesn't support password. So for that, I have my like GitHub key so that I cannot like share on the screen. So I have just pasted that token here, and after that I'll just hit enter. So now what you can see is, so what I did earlier is git push -u. That -u means you are setting a upstream. Okay, and the origin, that origin has been set up here, this origin. Okay, so you are pushing to this origin by the name of new branch that has been created here. Okay, so that means git push to a new upstream, that is this upstream, and after that the branch name, that branch you want to push. So after that, it will just try to recognize yourself. So it will ask for username and password. Okay, so generally this password has been removed from the GitHub recently, and they have uh, like given a new access token type of thing. So they gives you a token, and you just have to use it every time you want to push. Okay, so after that, it has been recognized me, and after that you can see, so it has pushed my entire code to this branch. So if I refresh this page right now, so what you will see here is a repository, and along with a branch named sample, and you will see that sample.txt file that I have created earlier. So you can see that here is a branch named sample, and you have that sample.txt that I have written intro to Git and GitHub. So 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 you can see that we have successfully created a GitHub repository into a local machine. We have successfully committed a file to that repository, and after that we have successfully created a branch, and we have added a origin to our remote origin to our local repository. And after adding the local remote origin to a local repository, we have pushed entire local repository on a new branch to the hosted GitHub. Okay, so here you can see in the like my GitHub that I have you can see that commit message here as well, and you can see that it is 8 minutes ago. So what happens is the changes I made to my local system, that time is being shown here. Okay, so this this GitHub repository and my this GitHub local Git local repository has been successfully synchronized after uh, hitting this command. So this basically pushed the entire local repository on a new branch to this hosted GitHub. So if you have any query, you can ask in the chat, or you will be getting all those things after 2 and 3 days that have Shantan said earlier. So after that, So I have created a assessment type of thing for you guys. So for that, what you have to do is basically uh, you have to contribute to this GitHub repository. Basically how we all contribute to Hacktoberfest type of open source contribution thing. That type of hands-on you all will be doing here. So first let me do this entire thing hands-on, and after that you guys will do these things. Okay, and it will be this thing will be this entire the second part, that contribution thing will be really beneficial for you whenever you want to contribute to an open source project. Okay, so first of all, what we have to do is, this is a repository by ACM HITK, and the repository name is Introduction to Git and GitHub. So what I'll do is, I will uh, clone this entire repository, or you can say I'll fork this entire repository to my repository, and after that I will make clone of the repository, and after that I'll be adding some changes to that repository. I'll be creating a new branch, I'll be committing some changes, and after that I'll be pushing to my repository. Then I will be creating a pull request. So I'll be creating a pull request within my own GitHub account, and then I'll create another pull request to this ACM Introduction to Git and GitHub account. So try to follow this entire thing carefully. Okay, so so okay, U is for set upstream. Basically U is for set upstream. Okay, no other questions. Okay, okay, so moving on. So entire guideline has been shown here. So first you have to fork this repository, and after that you have to clone this repository. You have to create a branch with your name, role, and department. Name underscore role and department. After that, you have to add a text file, name underscore role department.txt, for the initial contribution, and add the changes. Write 2-3 lines about yourself to the added file, then publish the branch to your remote repository, and make a pull request to the ACM HITK repository. That is all 7 steps you need to make to create a successful pull request to this ACM HITK repository. Okay, so let me start. So first of all, what we'll do is we will fork this repository. Okay, so after that, here you can see two GitHub is showing GitHub account. Basically, one is organizational and one is my personal. So I'm just hitting on my personal. So okay, so after that, what you can see that in your GitHub account, you have created a fork repository of the actual ACM HITK Introduction to Git and GitHub repository. Okay, so this is the actual repository. This is the actual repository, and this is the forked version, and I have created one fork. So how many fork this repo gets, so basically how many people clones or forks this repository, the number will be shown here like this. I have created one fork. So now this is my repository. Okay, on my GitHub account, this is my repository. So if I do some changes to it, so it doesn't affect this repository. So by doing this, you are not affecting this repository, but you are contributing to your own same repository of this like ACM HITK repository. So that means whenever you are adding some contribution to an open source software, so you are not messing the original software. Okay, so whenever you hit a PR or you give a pull request, so they will just verify it, and if they think that this is the necessary changes they require, so they will just add to the their repository. Okay, so after that, after forking, we have to clone this repository. Okay, so for cloning, you have to copy this URL, and after that you have to hit this command git clone, and after that you have to paste the repository URL and hit enter. So this repository has been cloned to my local system now. So now I'm just getting inside of that repository. So what you can see in this repository, so if I do git status, so you can see on branch main. So this is the branch, okay? So on branch main, and working tree is clean, and it has two files like contrib.md, readme.md, that has been shown here as well, okay? So what was our guidelines to contribution? So fork the repository, that is done. Clone the repository, that is done. So create a branch with name, role, and department. So okay, so git, so I'm creating a branch, git checkout dash b, and after that branch name. So for that, name, role, and department. Okay, so Protap underscore 1851246, and department is CACA. Okay, so now if you check git branch, you will see that I am on that newly created branch, that is on the exact format that has been mentioned here. Okay, so after that we just have to add a file of this convention. So let me just create a text file. So name underscore role underscore deep, okay, sorry, my bad. Put underscore 1851246, and after that CACA dot txt. So I have created a file. Let me add something to it. Nano. Okay, so I'm just adding some random text. Okay, so this is first ACM class for that's all. Okay, so I'm not adding anything more because we have short time. So okay, so let me just verify if I added. Okay, so now so what we have done is we have just added a file, and we have added some contents to that file, and after that our primary task is to check like in which status my current repository is. So for that you have to hit git status. So you will be seeing that one untracked file, that is that newly created file. So after that you have to add this untracked file to the staged area. So for that you have to git add, and after that file name. Okay, so you can add one single file to the staging area, or you can use git add dot. So here dot is basically the entire repository. You can add entire changes of files to that repository. So it's better to avoid this add dot rather than using the single file. So if you use single file for adding, that will be beneficial for you. You won't mess up things. So we have successfully added to the staged area for this file. We have added this file to the staged area. Now it's time to check the status. Okay, so now you can see that one file is in staged area, that is that file. So after that we just have to create a commit message and commit the file. So git commit. Okay, so after that I have to put a commit message like first commit on ACM HITK repo. After that, let me check its status. So you can see on branch this branch and nothing to commit, working tree is clean. That means already you have committed this file. Okay, so after that, what is our task? Our task is to push this thing to our local to our remote repository, that is this repository. That is not the actual repository, basically the forked repository. So what I'll do is I'll just git push origin. Okay, git push dash u origin. So you can like you can omit this dash u thing, that is the set upstream. So or you can add this as well, that won't differ much. So if you are if you are writing git push only, then you have to mention the upstream and all. So if you are writing git push origin and then the branch name, so it will just it will be just pushed to your repository. So if I refresh this repository, so what you will see is like we have now two branch here. Okay, the main branch and another is newly created branch. Okay, so you can see there is no file named this Pratap, that text file that we have created here. So if we changed the branch, if we change the branch, you can see that this file has been added. So now what you want to do is you just want to add to that main branch. So for that, you just have to create a pull request. So first of all, I am creating a pull request on my local, on my hosted repository that is under my account. And after that, I'll be just adding this to this main repository that is of ACM HITK. So in the assessment part, you have to just give pull request to this ACM HITK repository. Okay. So first of all, what I will do is I will push to my local repository, and so let me create a pull request to my repository. So okay, now it's visible. Okay, so so what I have created is I have created a pull request to my main branch from the newly created branch. So if you go to this pull request, you will see that from this Protap underscore this branch that you have created from my own repository that has been forked from the original repository. So what I will do is I'll merge this branch to my main branch. Okay. So after that, you will see that my entire code or the change will be in the main branch. Okay. So if we see the main branch, so now you can see in main branch I have this three files, and this is the new file that I have added. So if you open this new file, so this will have this content. So that is the final. Now it's time for the final task that you have to do, the like create a pull request to the actual repository. Okay. So for that, what I'll do is I'll go to the pull requests and I'll create a new pull request. Okay. And after that, what I will do is I will just select the main branch with my own repository. Okay. And after that, I will compare to that main repository, that is the actual repository. Okay. So now you can see that I have two commit. One is that I have fast commit on ACM HITK repo, that is here. Okay, where is this? Okay, so this is the first commit. So that is here, and another commit is that I have merged a pull request from my own repository. Okay, to my to another branch to main branch. So these two changes are need to be reflected on this main repository. For that, I will just create a pull request, and this is the structure for pull request for two different repository PR. Okay, so this one is my own repository that I have forked from this main repository. So I'm just comparing this my main branch along with the this main branch. Okay, so by after comparing, so that one file has been changed that you can see here, and so after verifying all that, I'm just creating a pull request. So after creating those pull requests, so let me add a message here. Okay, so I have added a file according to the contrib guides. Okay, so after that, okay, one file added. So basically, now I am creating the pull request. So now I have created a successful pull request to this repository. Okay, so if you go to the pull request here, you can see that I have added a file according to the contrib guides. Okay. So after that, the owner of this repository will verify this pull request, and if he merges or if he or she merges this pull request, so you will all see that here I'll get my file. Okay. So so if anyone is available on this repository right now, can he or she merge this pull request just to.
It has been merged. Yeah.
Okay, okay, so it has been merged. So let me refresh. So okay, after merging, so you can see that my file has been displayed here. Okay, so this is the task for all of you guys. You have to create just this type of file, and you just have to like push to your own repository. Then you have to like create a pull request to this actual repository, and the entire followed step you will find in this repository. That is the first step that I have been that I have shown earlier, that how to do the things. That is the steps are added here. Okay, and after that, the contribution guidelines, this is contrib.md, you will get all the steps to make a successful pull request to this actual repository. So let me recap this one. So you just have to fork this repository, then you have to clone the forked repo, then you have to create a branch, and then you have to add a file, then you have to add those changes and commit the file, and then you just have to publish this branch on your remote repository. Okay, and after that you have to make a pull request to the actual main repository from where you have forked. Okay, so this is the basic steps, and I would suggest all of you to do that thing in order to make your understanding more clear. Okay, and you will get all those slides and all the necessary steps within 2 days of this session. Okay, so after that, so you can see that. Okay, let me go to my repository, and so you can see this is the repository. Okay, and here the main branch has been changed. Okay, so in main branch there is a merge pull request. So like if I created a pull request from my own branch, like this branch, so I wouldn't have this change here. So for that change I have to just click just for that just have to fetch the upstream. Now what is fetch the upstream? That is basically I will be synchronizing this forked repository with the actual repository. So for that I'll just hit fetch and merge. Okay, so now you can see this is updated with this repository. Okay, so if you see the commits, so you can see that this is the latest commit here, that is 3 minutes ago, and here also you will see this is the latest commit. That means this two repository has been successfully synchronized. Okay, so that is all for today, I guess.
Yeah, thank you, Pratap. So whoever is here right now, like I would like to say a few things to you all. Pratap, you can turn the screen, like share, like turn off the
Okay, okay,
screen share.
okay, okay.
So the first thing is like your ACM Python hobby classes will be starting from the next week. Maybe next week is Saraswati Puja, so maybe on 6th it will be conducted. But I cannot guarantee right now. I have to talk to the faculty sponsor as well. So what we will be doing is like I'll be teaching Python to you all. Not only the like I only will be teaching Python. There might be some other students as well from fourth year, or some teacher as well who might be coming and giving some lectures on Python. So the final thing in Python, what you'll be doing is a project. So that project, there might be 3 to 4 project statements, and in the statement there might be a question, and it would be assigned to you, and you'll be doing this and submitting this in GitHub only. So you have to follow these steps that is shown in this video right now. And as you have already seen, like the ACM repository, let me share my screen once. So I hope the screen is visible right now. If anyone can tell me that if it is visible or not, that would be great. Is it visible? Anybody? Yeah, thank you. So you can see that this github.com ACM HITK, right? So you have to go over here, like here is introduction to Git and GitHub. You go over here and follow the exact thing which Pratap did, and like here Pratap has given his own commitment, like he had committed over here. Similarly, you all also try to do this. Like I understand this, that this Git and GitHub is a bit complicated stuff, and for first years who have been never been introduced to Git and GitHub, this might be a bit challenging for you all right now to push things and to understand what is going on. But just if you believe me for this little amount, and you'll understand this importance in third or fourth year when you'll be actually facing industry or research oriented challenges where you have to work with this. There is no other option. Actually, you have to either learn or maybe go to YouTube or learn this from some kind of documentation. So what we are aiming is, like, you open GitHub account, like play with it. Maybe you watch some YouTube videos. Not only have to like like see our videos or maybe read our cheat sheet that we will be providing, but instead you can go and search like what is Git and GitHub and what can you do, like what are the commands. And like you can also see there are several interesting repositories here as well. So here we are in ACM HITK. This is our board's repository. Similarly, I have my own GitHub account. So see, this is a customized GitHub account. So here, see, this is not like the original one. So how did I do this, and what changes did I make over here so that this is like I can show this kind of things. So you have to learn that, and you will be gradually learning this. So wouldn't happen in one day. So like if you are a little bored right now, please like keep up your motivation, because in next week I'll be introducing Python, and I'll be giving some kind of assignments as well. So you'll be doing that and try to make repositories for this. So I told you, like, this is a repository. So repository means a folder, right? So like introduction to Git and GitHub is a folder. Similarly, here you can see that here is one more repository called test. So test is another folder. So similarly, see, I have also a few folders like a repository. So once you get to this environment, you will be exploring and understanding what etc things, like things can be done over here and what you can achieve. So whenever you are trying to build a project, you have to host it somewhere so that one can see what you have done, and you can also write it in your CV or resume, right? So you have to learn this. You can't give a Google Drive link where your project would be hosted. That won't make so much sense. And here you can also document stuff. For example, I'll be showing you one of the repositories that I have created. So here you can see that like whenever someone visits that, they will be seeing this kind of things, right? That what is this project all about, how can I access that. So this kind of stuff, and these are also hosted in GitHub pages. So we have told in our like webinar that we will be also exploring GitHub pages, but unfortunately we don't have the time to do this right now. Just see one thing, like we will go to the settings. Whenever you go to the settings of a repository, the folder, for example this weathering with you can see that here is a thing known as pages. So once you go here, right now it is disabled. Similarly, if you just enable it selecting a branch, that whole repository will be hosted. For example, if you make a website, those of you who are already into web development, like you know about index.html and stuff, like assets which are there in website. So what you can do is you just upload that repository in GitHub and just set that branch. Once you do that, you'll be receiving a link, and once that link is there, it is actually hosted in GitHub. So you don't have to pay to any like hosting sites or something like that. It's free from GitHub. So you can host any kind of static websites over here. So this is the one thing which I thought like I should share, the GitHub pages. And don't worry too much if you haven't understood a lot right now. You will be like gradually, if you explore this stuff, so you will be understanding what this is all about. So thank you again for coming. And so yeah, this is everything from my side, so I will be stopping. So see you all next week, maybe like maybe if we have like a class on 6th, it would be an introduction to Python. So you'll be learning Python from us. So thank you so much for coming. So you can leave right now. Yeah, bye.